We're leaving mainland Tasmania. We're heading for Bruny Island for a series of treks. Taste of Tasmania in this episode of Travel Islands. G'day, welcome. I'm Greg Granger.
Trekking, cruising, turn it on Tassie. Breathtaking scenery. Candid characters like the baker who sells his bread out of a fridge. The best of Bruny Island. The best of the west coast of Tassie. Plus Melbourne, marvellous, magnificent. And Jen Willis tackling the world's highest mountains as a mountain climber with multiple sclerosis. Bruny Island. It's a remote island off the southeastern corner of a bigger island, Tasmania. Remote and stunningly beautiful, as I'm about to discover over the next few days on a trip organised by the Masters of Wilderness Discovery, Park Trek.
Bruny has a huge amount to offer through massive dolerite cliffs, varied vegetation, and absolutely stunning sandy beaches. It's got it all.
Stephen Anstey is our Park Trek guide, leading an intimate group of travellers for this Bruny Island experience. The group is capped to a maximum of 10 trekkers, with trekking on this remote part of Australia leading us to an historic lighthouse.
It's the second oldest standing lighthouse, built in 1836 and built by convicts and still standing today. Quite a remarkable feat for them. So when it was first built, it burnt a litre of whale oil in the light per hour.
The wildlife one encounters on these park treks are always very special. This pair of pied oyster catchers is followed by their newly born chick. Now, like his parents, this young oyster catcher will have a lifelong preference for sandy beaches. Plenty of paddy melons too can be seen here on Bruny. But the standout sighting is of a white wallaby. The elusive white wallaby. It's a rare genetic mutation that has given these wallabies their signature white fur. We spotted several on our treks. And then came an echidna. This one seemed unperturbed by Stephen and me as it waddled right up to us.
Beautiful echidna poking his beak out there. He's hunkered down.
He's hunkered down. He's looking for ants.
Yes.
He's looking for little insects in the
Yes.
ground. You see that fur that he's got? That's a lot longer than you get on the mainland.
Okay.
So it's a bit colder down here, and so they just have that for extra warmth.
Wildflowers were in abundance too on our treks. Our fellow guide, Rose Johnson, has photographed plenty of them.
Rose, I'm watching you take photographs of all manner of plants here. You're a plant photographer with a great passion for it. Talk us through the sort of plants you've got. A lot of colour here.
Yep. So this is a native pepperberry. You can tell by the red stem.
Yes.
And the little pepperberries that are here. So edible as well. They've got a really good bite to them.
Evenings after a day of trekking are spent in a cosy timber-lined lodge where we get a chance to enjoy our fellow trekkers.
It's been fantastic. We've really enjoyed our walks here. They have really done a great job of mixing in a great range of experiences. The bit that really impressed me is how the tour guides juggle taking us around, showing us exciting places, but also at the end of the day, we've got our cheese platter, we'll have a beautiful meal to look forward to. I'm just amazed. I don't know how they do it.
there are also side trips on offer. One day we headed down the rugged Dolomite cliffs with Pennicott Cruises, skippered by Lizzie Stokely.
I've worked on boats now for about 4 years and yeah, been driving boats for about 2.
So you're quite a good skipper. You're taking us out down south of Adventure Bay today.
Yeah, our tour runs down to the Southern Ocean, so it's always got a little bit more roll and a bit more adventure. It's a beautiful part of the world. We love to head down there and show it off. Today we definitely had a little bit of movement down the bottom, which is good, so we got to give everyone a little bit of an adventure, but all in all, yeah, pretty mellow day. Sometimes we get down there and turn around and come straight back because it can get pretty wild and woolly, but today was pretty nice.
So Lizzie, these Dolomite cliffs, pretty impressive.
Yeah, these Dolomite cliffs are quite impressive. So they used to be molten magma. So this stuff here is super dense, very, very tough. One of the strongest rocks in the world. Weighs about 2.8 tonne per cubic metre. So for these caves to have made a dent in the coastline, this strong rock still does give. It just gives credit to our ocean, how strong it is down here and how it can eventually eat away or erode away at the Dolomite rock that we've got down here on Bruny.
So the seals, we're seeing some Australian fur seals here, quite big, blazing on the rocks. Good colony here. Good haul out.
Yeah. So the big Australian fur seal haul out, most of them being male, so it's our big bachelor pad. And yeah, there's usually quite a few seals down here all year long, but even though they look quite lazy at the moment, they get pretty active at night time, which is when they go out hunting.
So what is it? What's the appeal of coming down here?
I think, well, personally, I've lived on Bruny my entire life and I still haven't been able to get rid of me. I love it down here. We've got such a beautiful, raw part of the world and we're really lucky to be able to come out here every day and get paid to do this. And so it's a joy to be able to show people what we've got as well. Where we go, it's all national parks. You can only access it if you've got a boat or an aeroplane. So for us to be out there on our own experience and that is pretty special, and we get to do it every single day. So it's a joy to show people around Bruny and show them why we love it as well.
Another day, another trek, this time down on one of the many gorgeous beaches that line Bruny Island. The standout feature being the Dolomite Caves and narrow passages.
On a narrow canyon. Having to hit both sides of the rock through here, but squeeze through, breathe in, and we're through.
Time too on our park trek experience to meet some great characters like Susan Hawken. She runs a raspberry farm in a cute settlement known as Adventure Bay.
Susie, so you're the Bruny Island raspberry girl.
Yes, I am.
How long have you been growing raspberries?
I've been growing raspberries for about 16 years. Started just for my little grandkids and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it just grew, and I had the area to do more. And now it's grown into a farm that supports my shop, and I can live and work in my own backyard. So how cool is that?
Why raspberries?
Raspberries, like, they're awesome. They're the fruit to have in your backyard if you've got to go doing it.
Well, here we are, picking them. You're going to try one for us?
This one here, ripe off the bush.
Yes.
You can't beat it. And it's my grandson will always come back down with a raspberry smile. And you know where he's been.
Then there's Kat Davidson, guide at a nature refuge and Jurassic garden known as Inala.
So Inala is Dr. Tonya Cochran's private land down on South Bruny Island, and we've got 1,500 acres of conservation land where we're working on habitat preservation and making sure that endangered species like swift parrot and 40-spotted pardalotes are able to have a strong and safe place to live. And then within the confines of the conservation reserve, we have a gorgeous botanic garden and the little museum that we're in here with the gems and the fossils and the shells that Tonya's gathered gathered over her lifetime.
So, an impressive display of plants from the Gondwana supercontinent, but also a superb collection of fossils in that nature museum. But the biggest Bruny Island surprise for me is how the Bruny baker, John Bullock, sells his bread.
Well, this is going to be the world's most unusual bakery shop. So 2 fridges. The baker lives up the road here. He comes down a couple of times a day. He bakes a bit of bread up there. He puts the bread in the fridge there. In you go. You buy your bread. Big selection. He's just put it in there. Nice and warm. And you put your coins in here to purchase. You don't even attend the shop, you just stock it with the bread every now and then.
Open 24/7.
Where did you get the concept? At what point did you say in your life, I'm not going to have a shop, not a conventional shop like anyone else, I'm going to put a fridge on the side of the road full of my bread?
It needed to be something that was possum-proof.
Yes, yes.
Waterproof.
Yes.
And preferably kept it warm. And there's one at town.
You wanted to bake bread, but you didn't want to be bothered standing there and taking money and selling it.
No. Definitely not.
Bruny Island's innovative bakery. Just another memorable experience on our trek across Bruny Island. The brains behind Park Trek is this man, Charles Thompson, a former lawyer who's sharing his passion for nature and walking with all Aussies.
So what we're trying to achieve with our trekkers is a really authentic, down-to-earth experience where the whole thing is about being in nature and being with great guides who provide you the assurity and safety and knowledge to get so much out of walking in a beautiful place. We've got a lot of people who have been keen walkers all their life, but now they want to be in places they don't know, and they want to be with really great guides.
And fellow trekkers.
And fellow trekkers, yeah, and just soak up the environment they're in. That's what it's all about.
Of all the many states that Park Trek operates, there's one place that stands above the rest.
I mean, Tasmania on the whole is a really, really special place for so many reasons. The landscape's dramatic, the history's complex, but very interesting, and it really is a jewel in the whole Australian crown.
Among those Tassie locations, this one has both spectacular mountains covered in snow in winter and a peaceful, near-perfect lake.
We're here at Cradle Mountain, Dove Lake, filled with melted snow waters and blooming wildflowers. A lot of wildlife as well. Dove Lake here, beautiful, a beautiful backdrop.
Amazing place. I mean, I've walked around Cradle many times and it is just stunning.
There are many classic walks to be had in this national park. Keep your eyes peeled and you're bound to spot some of the abundant wildlife that roams this territory. Take this wombat, ambling and nibbling nonchalantly. It's a creature that's labelled as the world's largest burrowing herbivore. Some say wise, but certainly curious. This is Tassie Devil territory as well, but this one, bred at the local wildlife park, Tassie's at Cradle, has a very big reputation. This fat 4-year-old fella is known as Fandangles, weighing in at 12.8 kilograms, more than 4 k's bigger than most male Tassies. Fandangles, prelude to one final experience in tantalising Tasmania. We're exploring out of the west coast settlement of Strawn. There's a day of luxury cruising ahead on this big, beautiful red cruise ship, family owned and operated.
We have repositioned. We've repositioned to the wild west coast of Tasmania and we're going cruising. We're going cruising on this beautiful big red catamaran. We're going cruising out through Hell's Gate to Sarah Island, up the Gordon River. A day of excitement here on the wild west coast of Tasmania.
A regular explorer on these cruises is Bella Hart, who has the enviable job of marketing these trips.
Hey Bella, you turned on a fantastic day.
Yeah, we've got a really beautiful day today, which is absolutely fantastic.
So is this typical of Strawn weather?
Oh, strong weather can be very unpredictable. Sometimes it can be like this and next minute it's raining. But typically in summer we do have many long beautiful days like this. Oh, so today we've got a lot in store for our guests. We are going out to Hell's Gates currently, and then it's such a beautiful day, so we get to go to Cape Sorel Lighthouse. And then after that we go to Sarah Island, and then we slow down and have a beautiful lunch as we take in the scenes of the Gordon River.
Behind the controls, veteran skipper Andrew Marshall.
That's surge power, Andy, you like that?
Oh, it's something else.
What
It's
sort of
something
power we got
else.
here?
We got 4x900 Scania diesel engines, 900 horsepower, and we got 4 jet engines to give us the power into the water. So it's quite a modern and very fast, high-performance craft.
Andy, you've taken us through Hell's Gates.
Oh, on a beautiful day like this, but I'm sure, you know, at time to time when the roaring 40s are in full swing, this whole port entrance is waves breaking right through here. No ships go into Hell's Gates in those conditions. And those conditions can happen any time throughout the year.
We're sailing convict waters today. Convicts were once held on Sarah Island, a hellish prison, the brick remnants of which we're about to walk around today. Maggie Johnson will be guiding us.
Maggie, what have we got here?
Oh, today you've got a visit to Sarah Island, the infamous penal colony of Tasmania, in the middle of Macquarie Harbour.
So this penal colony would just about have been the harshest in the world, would it not?
It definitely had the reputation back in the early days. We're talking about 1822.
Yes.
That would have been a shocking time for the convicts that arrived here then.
Next part of our trip is out of Macquarie Harbour into the Tasmanian World Heritage Area. As we cruise slowly up the Gordon River, we become aware that this was the scene of the famous Franklin River protests, a movement that ended the construction of a destructive dam here.
So this is a river with a lot of history. Franklin runs into this?
Franklin runs into this. The Gordon River has a lot of history before the Gordon below Franklin Dam controversy of the 80s. History of hue and pining, you know, exploration. So a lot's gone on here in this little river over the years.
As we nudge slowly upriver, I meet Katrina Young. She's going to take us ashore to explore the rainforest.
It's one of the very few places where the general public get to go into the World Heritage areas.
So how special is that?
Well, for me, it's the be-all, end-all. It's the only place like this left on the planet. And some of this vegetation actually dates back before Gondwana, which is really special. And of course, then we have all of our endemic species that only grow here and nowhere else on the planet. It's one of the oldest, largest areas of any rainforest left on the planet, let alone cool temperate, and it's also remnant Antarctic vegetation. We've got leatherwood here, one of Tasmania's most famous trees. So this is where we get our leatherwood honey from these gorgeous cherry blossoms. And the beekeepers would be out putting all their hives out at the moment to get all the honey off it.
At day's end, we sail back down the Gordon River into the tiny settlement of Strawn, where a Huon pine log is being cut up. This sawmill has been here since the early 1940s, owned and operated by the Morrison family, with Brendan Morrison demonstrating today.
So Brendan, a sawmill, this is a very personal sawmill.
It is, mate, yeah. It's a family mill. It's in the 4th generation at the moment.
We don't think of sawmills like this anymore, but here in Strawn, you're operating one.
We are, yeah. So it's a family business and we've been here for 4 generations, and yeah, it's great to keep the tradition going.
Now you've got an off-cut here that you've
Yeah, I've got a Huon pine wheel that we've cut and sanded, and that will be used as a cheese board or a chopping board. That wheel there would be anywhere from 400 plus years old.
The world famous Morrison Huon pine sawmill and the wood carvings produced from its timber. A fitting finale to a day out with World Heritage cruises. and out of Melbourne, let's check out some very different perspectives of the Victorian capital. Down at the Royal Botanic Gardens, the flowers are in full bloom. 38 hectares of lakes, lawns, trees and garden beds bordering the Yarra River. Our entree to South Bank and Inner Melbourne. We're going to take a walk, an intimate walk around Inner Melbourne, discover the heart and soul of this city with a girl who's lived here all her life, has a great passion for Melbourne. Starting here at South Bank, Irene Jones. Irene once presented her own reports and other TV shows, and these days runs a travel consultancy firm, Travel Globe. All happening on South Bank.
It's beautiful, isn't it?
So you've got the cruise ships, you've got the bridges, you've got the water, and you've got all these restaurants here.
Incredible restaurants in Melbourne. We're very well known for having amazing food and these gorgeous waterways on the Yarra River.
So you really are a Melbourneite, aren't you?
Definitely Melbourne through and through.
Flinders Street Railway Station, this facade, such a unique feature of Melbourne.
It is a Melbourne icon used by thousands of commuters every single day and tourists to enter Melbourne. It's great.
Across the road from the station, Federation Square.
It's amazing, isn't it? So this is where we see some incredible Indigenous artwork.
Yeah.
The community of Melbourne really loves to use this space to come together for big sporting events. So we're not far from the G, and this is where we come and see the incredible Australians take on the sporting world.
One thing that impresses me about Melbourne are the floral displays and vibrant crowds. Well, Bourke Street Mall certainly alive.
I love that you can't bring cars down here so that everyone can gather in the one place and celebrate the Christmas windows and get to shop in the city of Melbourne.
And Irene, your office just up the road here, you're running Travel Globe right from here.
That's right, Travel Globe. We're travel experts. We love getting our customers away to incredible destinations, including Melbourne.
Another day, another personal perspective on more of Melbourne's attractions and a stellar hotel. I'm meeting up on Albert Park Lake with hotelier Jamie Srubis, owner of a stylish boutique hotel on the fringe of Melbourne City that borders and overlooks this park. Hey there, Jamie.
Hey, Greg. Welcome to Melbourne. Let me show you what I love about it.
Great. Let's go.
This is probably one of my favourite spots in Melbourne because you're so close to the city, but it's also full of nature. You've got the swans, you've got the trees. It normally takes about an hour to do a little loop around here. Great to grab a coffee. I normally bring the pram.
So close to the city.
Yes, very close
And this
to
is
the
a
city.
park that you really got to know during COVID.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, when we had the 5 kilometre limit, this was one that was really close to my house and really close to the hotel. So I used to come down here probably every day in the mornings.
Jamie takes me onto St Kilda Road where her hotel, the Kinson, is located. Here, trams play a vital role in Melbourne's transport system. This is the largest operational tram network in the world with 24 routes and more than 500 trams. St Kilda Road, like the Champs-Élysées.
Yeah. Yes, it definitely reminds me of streets in Europe. I love walking down here with the greenery and the hustle and the bustles of the trams. It's really electric.
Early house.
Yes, so this was actually the boyhood home of former Australian Prime Minister Stanley Bruce.
And the former backyard of that prime ministerial boyhood home was right here where a hotel was built.
Yes, absolutely, and that's where our hotel is now, and that's where we are.
Jamie welcomes me into her boutique-style Kinson Hotel, superbly located on Melbourne City's fringe. So the Kinson Hotel has been an arty hotel, and you've kept that theme going.
Yes, so what we've done is kept the theme of art and fashion, and we've actually partnered with Vogue Australia to use their imagery throughout the hotel. Obviously, being in the art and fashion precinct of Melbourne, it kind of made sense to continue that theme on. And the rooms are fully refurbished, and we've got a lot of new exciting things about to happen in the hotel as well.
Great views here from the luxury refurbished rooms with accessible balconies. Now these rooms are larger than normal rooms and even have a kitchenette. So you've got a new wellness centre, that's going to set you apart.
Yes, we've got a new wellness centre that'll be in the penthouse on level 18. We've got new restaurants coming in and we've just got exciting times ahead.
Exciting. Upstairs in the penthouse, there's a function underway, organised by our inner Melbourne City guide, Irene Jones. It's this space that's been converted into a wellness centre, with Jamie's partner Ben finalising plans.
So Ben, wellness is going to be big here at the Kinson.
Certainly, we expect Kinson will be synonymous with wellness and urban bathing in Melbourne, and it's certainly the world around. We're excited to be delivering a unique urban bathing and relaxation experience here, right in the penthouse of the Kinson. It's amazing that post-COVID, the awareness of the benefits of things such as meditation, breathing, saunaing, hot and cold plunge, in particular ice bathing. It's amazing how that's taken off, not just here in Australia, but certainly globally.
So you've got experience in this world?
Indeed, it's something I've been a regular sauna aficionado, if you like, for many, many years. I've been sauning on a number of times a week. What's interesting is that the awareness from the everyday person as opposed to your professional athlete. Certainly professional athletes have been using a lot of these techniques for benefiting their training and performance for many years. Now everyday people are. What we're looking to do is bring that into the hotel realm, where you can have a bathing experience and a wellness experience right here in the city of Melbourne, rather than getting out to a regional destination or retreat.
So Ben, we're on the 18th floor of the Kinson, magnificent views, a perfect setting, you think, for a wellness centre?
Part of our mission and mantra is to connect people with nature, and in an urban context that's a little harder. So what we look for is connection to nature, in the sense that we're right across the road from Botanical Gardens to Faulkner Park. Albert Park's one of the best and biggest parks of Melbourne, as well as views. In terms of an urban context, looking out at a beautiful aspect, in this case over Albert Park Lake, the bay, and to the distance and beyond in the west of Melbourne, gives you that sense of connection to nature, sense of an urban escape and retreat.
The Kinson's restaurants are also being refurbished, with Adam Kite supervising.
So in the next 12 months, we'll be opening a high-end Italian offer with a wood-fired pizza, beer garden, live music, and then towards the end of 2024, we'll be looking at renovating the second hospitality opportunity downstairs.
Melbourne's Kinson Hotel, edged by green spaces and interesting places.
Our final story in this episode of Travel Oz takes us to Hanging Rock. Now, you remember that Peter Weir movie, Picnic at Hanging Rock? Well, we're back here and we're about to meet an outstanding athlete, a woman who's climbed many of the world's highest mountains, including Mount Everest. Her catch? She's got MS. She manages these amazing accomplishments with that condition.
Introducing Jen Willis, former school principal, mother of three, the first Australian with multiple sclerosis to climb Mount Everest. An outstanding woman with an inspiring story. The day I first caught up with Jen, she was exploring Hanging Rock north of Melbourne. Then next day she was on a cliffside at Werribee Gorge. All conducted after she'd tackled the highest of all peaks, Mount Everest.
Jennifer.
Hey Jen.
Hey Craig.
You like climbing?
I love climbing.
Why?
I like getting above things. I like getting up above the trees and above the tree line. I feel like it just takes me to a place of different perspective.
So it's a challenge. When you get to that top, have you fulfilled your challenge?
It depends what I've been climbing. In this most recent climb, didn't quite get to the top of Everest.
But you climbed most of it.
I climbed most of it. Yeah. I did. I climbed to 8,000 metres. And did I fulfil my challenge there? I didn't think so at the time. Coming back down and spending some time reflecting, that's when I fulfilled the challenge that I realised I was on. It was a different one to what I thought.
But when did you decide you wanted to climb? At what age were you?
So look, honestly, climbing was probably just a part of me from when I was very little. If there was a tree to climb or anything, I was just trying to find a way up it. So, and then my desire to climb bigger mountains.
Yes.
And actually one day mountaineer. I was about 8. So the first official mention that I might have had MS, that was in 2008.
Yes.
I'd been quite sick a couple of times before then. When I was about 25, I became unwell and the doctor said then I may have had something that could lead to a wheelchair, but they didn't do any more testing.
Dear. That must have been a big worry.
Yeah, and look, at that time, that was in 95. I was sick for about 3 months and I sort of went, I've got to get over this. I've got to get back on with things. And friends were going on a ski tour, and so I went, oh, well, it's either going to kill me or not. And so headed out ski touring for 10 days and came good. So that probably ties into why this activity in the mountains in the snow is very healing for me as well. So it's a disease of the central nervous system. So it's an autoimmune disease, and the immune system starts to attack. So it can be our optic nerves, our spinal cord, and in our brain.
Yes.
I liken it to if you're in your home and you flick on a light switch and the light turns on, you flick it off, the light turns off. So all the wiring, if you get rats into your house and they start chewing through the wiring, you might flick a switch and it might flicker, but the light might not fully come on, or you might try and flick it and nothing happens. That's what MS does within our nervous system.
So Jen, you had an obsession with Tablelands.
Absolutely. I fell in love with that mountain in 1996, and yep, I just hadn't forgotten about this feeling I had of one day wanting to go back and get up close and personal with it.
So you conquered it?
No, I did not. I did not. I made it to 6,500 metres or 6,800 metres.
Yes, which is still a great accomplishment.
Yeah. And I was, probably post-COVID and climbing with MS, I was not super fast. And so my Sherpa was probably used to climbing a bit faster, and he got really cold. And so we had come up over right just below the Dublin, so come through all the most difficult of the climbing and came over into probably negative 35 and what felt like gale force winds. And as I was climbing up behind him, he said, I want to go home.
Regrettably, Jen had to turn back within metres of the summit, but she was still determined to continue her quest to mountaineer.
I think about the Energizer Bunny, the good old Energizer Bunny, and I look at, that's me. And do you know what? Because my batteries with the MS can really run down and I can end up really tired. And when that happens, for me, what it takes, it's like the car where the batteries run flat. You've got to put some charge back into it. And so getting back out, being physical, being active, getting into the outdoors, the fresh air, the sunlight, all of those things, that's how I recharge my batteries. Lying at home resting, I just get more and more tired.
So Jen turned her focus onto the world's tallest mountain, Mount Everest.
So you're on the mountain, you're doing the climb, you've got a support Sherpa, and you've got oxygen. So it's still not an easy climb. You're at rarefied atmosphere up there.
Yeah, and so look, honestly, the climbing itself, the Khumbu Icefall is a pretty intimidating environment.
Yes.
You can hear pieces falling and crashing, and when you're sleeping at base camp, you hear avalanches, so you're very aware of the movement of the glacier and the movement of the mountains.
Yeah.
I didn't find any of it technically difficult. The climbing is a lot easier than Tablelands, but the sort of psychological aspects of feeling, quite vulnerable in the physical environment that you're in.
Yes.
That's one sort of aspect that you deal with. And the other is, for me, I guess, the number of rotations that you do to acclimatise on the mountain.
After 5 weeks of acclimatisation, ascending, descending, ascending, Jen reached the South Col, less than 900 metres from the summit of Mount Everest.
It's an amazing feeling. I'm at the South Col, and you hear a lot about the South Col, and suddenly I'm there looking at this final stage to take us to the summit.
But for Jen, a big disappointment. Logistical issues meant she was denied a final climb to the summit, instead spending a long and challenging night alone in a tent at 8,000 metres.
I didn't go for the summit, no. And by that point, while 2 days before I might have believed that just making it to the South Col, I would have felt fulfilled and that would have felt like success. Once I was there, not getting to leave from there, I just didn't feel that success. My heart broke, and I felt like any grace I had climbed with in this is okay and I've made it to here, and holding it all with such, a sense of accomplishment, that all went out the window. I just fell from grace up there, it broke me.
Still an amazing accomplishment and an incredible story. Now Jen turns her attention to engaging audiences as a motivational speaker, coaching and guiding others also living with MS to Everest Base Camp.
And so I want to help, these people on this trek. I just want to walk alongside them and share my understandings in a gentle way as they work through their own physical challenges. And my role isn't to push people to, face their own inner self in the way that I'm doing with myself, but to be there if they have moments when they just need to lean into someone and wonder, why am I struggling? Why am I struggling with this mindset? Why am I struggling with this belief? Why am I struggling? Why am I here doing what I'm doing?
Jen Willis, courageous and inspirational.